All right, everyone. Hey, welcome tonight to tonight's Wednesday night product overview. We haven't done one of these in a few months. Our special guest tonight, Mary Esther Gilbert. She's got all kinds of credentials. Before I jump into it, I do want to say our products are doing amazing out there. We're seeing a lot of testimonials on our Go Life Facebook page. If you're not part of that, if you want to jump in, you can take a look at the testimonials, look at the different products, and learn about what we're doing. Again, I'm going to ask anybody who's jumping on to please mute your line so we don't hear you. That way we can move on with the presentation uninterrupted. Okay, so just a little disclaimer as we get started. This content is not intended to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. This is really important for us to do this. It is the law. We always want to make sure that we're compliant, and we're going to do our best to give you accurate information that you can take in and digest and be able to use to learn about our wonderful product line. Now, as I mentioned earlier, our special guest tonight, Mary Esther Gilbert. You can see some of her qualifications. Mary Esther, welcome to the call.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So good to see you. I was just saying earlier, it's been a while. I know you've been really, really busy. And as we just kind of get into this conversation, Mary Esther wrote this incredible book, the reference guide to our products. And I understand that you're currently working on a few edits.
Absolutely. Yes, as was requested from the department in your company. So without getting too much into it, yes, it's going to be even better, I believe.
Well, it's going to be hard because it's already pretty great. A little bit about our background. I'll just read a couple of things for you. Nutritional physiologist, national healing specialist, bachelor and master's degree in science and holistic nutrition, bachelor of science in nutritional science, author of 6 books. I could go on and on, but I think the most important thing for people to know is that you've got an incredible background. Can you just give us an idea, a quick introduction about your life and what brought you to this point, and then why APO Go with these products?
Well, I'd have to take you back to 1974. But so basically, I have a mission in life just to make sure that people know how their bodies work and what it takes to maintain it. Of course, there's many aspects to whole health, but it's foundational to begin at the microscopic level, at your cellular level, where all life begins. So learning how to nourish that and to maintain that is really the key to optimal health vibrancy.
Wonderful. So kind of take us to, I know that over the years, and you've consulted with many companies, you've been privy to new launches for different types of products. What got your attention about this accumulate assay technology, about this product line?
It was the absorbability factor that I really liked. The technology was unique. After looking at countless supplement ingredients over the last 40 years, there was not much that would impress me about a supplement line. So I would offer people, the best supplements I could find as far as absorbability goes and completeness of formulations. And the plant compounds are very, very important for our health. They're not considered essential by government guidelines, but they really are very essential for our health because they do so much. Vitamins and minerals and enzymes and all those things are very important. But phytonutrient compounds found in plants, that's the most important thing to augment all the other nutrients in plants. So, it takes a while to be able to recognize what is a supplement, but it's important to understand the technology that makes all the difference in these drops. So that's what impressed me.
Thank you. I know we had a conversation a couple of days ago, Esther, about just some of the medical stuff that gets out to people. We have doctors talking about different products. One of the things that I'm really impressed about is how well you know these products, how well you know these ingredients. So what I kind of want to do is I want to get into a little bit about, just generally speaking, about where we've been for the last 300 or 400 years. We all know about pills and capsules. They've been around for a long, long time. In fact, I think even far back as Hippocrates, they were making capsules and pills. This has been something that everybody's used to doing. And now we have a brand new category of these Anion DNA drops. Could you maybe just elaborate a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's so many tablets and capsules like there, like you said, and there's powders. And when people decide to improve their health, they don't know the difference between what's in one capsule or tablet versus another. So they just pop things and they don't know what's really going on inside the body. So a lot of companies don't put out complete supplements and supplements that are entirely usable by the body, by something that our DNA recognizes. So as long as our genetic code can read what comes into the body and utilize it to improve your health and maintain it and prevent disease and all of that, then that's what we need to look for. A lot of these tablets and capsules out there, they aren't complete and they aren't absorbable by the body. They aren't very recognizable. Some of them are synthetics. Some of them contain allergenic potential, hazardous, inflammatory type of other ingredients. So these tablets and capsules out there are so incomplete. That's my main thing. When you get a drop in your body, your DNA is reading the plant DNA, and the plant DNA is so compatible with ours. It has the information that your body needs to maintain it properly and to correct anything that needs correcting, which all happens at the cellular level. So these other supplements out there, they're not doing it. They're not really completing that task as well. So taking a drop is like digesting a food and taking it down to the most minute level so that your body can read it, or your DNA can read the information and utilize it. But these capsules, sometimes they don't have that compatibility.
So I find what you're saying really interesting. I've seen studies where they look at like sewers and they measure the amounts of supplements that end up in sewers because they pass through your body. They don't really able to absorb the nutrients. And I think you're just really doing a great job of explaining that.
Yes, I remember realizing that many, many decades ago that a lot of your minerals, especially, are not, they're just not, your body cannot absorb an elemental mineral. You might as well try to chew up rocks and swallow them, because basically a lot of the old time mineral supplements used to be like that. But now companies are becoming more educated. They're attaching protein molecules like chelated and that kind of thing. But a plant derived, a plant that's been grown in a nutrient-rich, mineral-rich environment will be full of minerals that your body needs. So it's best to try to get to the plant's, components that your body needs.
Great. So Esther, as we go through, one of the things that we like to talk about with this product is the negative ion aspects. And I've done a bunch of research talking about moving waterfalls, heavy, densely populated forests with lots of trees. Can you tell us a little bit about negative ions? I've also read that our cells in our bodies have a negative charge to them. Maybe you could elaborate on that.
Oh, absolutely. If you were to go outside and put your bare feet on the ground, you would pick up an abundance of electrons. The Earth has a never-ending supply of electrons. So those electrons will neutralize a lot of what are called free radicals in your body. Anything that doesn't belong in your body, any stress chemicals your body produces, any toxins, environmental pollutants, or any invading pathogenic organisms, illness-causing organisms, those are all free radicals. And so at the atomic level, once you get down past to the submolecular level, at the atomic level, you've got protons, electrons, and neutrons in these atoms. And so what free radicals do is they're searching for extra electrons so that they can activate them. But as long as you're taking in ionically charged food, like raw foods, or in the case of the drops are the only supplement in the world that have negatively charged particles in them. Or you can go outside and stand barefoot on the ground, and that's called grounding. There's a lot of scientific research actually about grounding. So you can do all of those things and gather more electrons so that your body can neutralize whatever free radicals are just circulating and damaging cells in your body.
That's really interesting. I think there's a term called cations, and those are positively charged ions. And from what I read, they surround us. They can come through your television, your phone, they can come through pollution. And some of the side effects, if I'm correct, are like anxiety, people not sleeping well, nausea. Have you done very much looking into positive ions?
Yeah, like I said, they're the positive ions, like you said, they are the stress chemicals your body produces. They're missing electrons, so they're searching and scavenging your perfectly healthy cells in your body to steal those electrons in order to be more active. So when your body produces stress chemicals, then they need a negative charge to neutralize themselves. So this is what the body looks for. It looks for constantly negatively charged ions to neutralize these cations, like you said. So if you're eating cooked foods, then your body will search for a way to donate an electron to those foods so you can digest them and you can create the enzymes in your body to digest those foods. There's this whole chain reaction in the body that occurs when you have the right balance of the charged particles at this submicro level.
That's really fascinating. And you said earlier, this is the only supplement with these negative charged ions. So what a great conversation we get to have with the rest of the world. Electricity, right, through lightning strikes, supercharging the earth. You want to elaborate on that as well a little bit?
Yes, there's several million gigahertz that occurs when a lightning strikes, and it actually charges the air with these negatively charged particles. So that's when you go out after a storm, a rainstorm, you'll see that, you'll feel like there's that certain smell in the air. It smells very fresh and you feel energized, and it's just, everything seems crisp and clear. Those are the particles that are in the air that you should absorb yourself.
Yes, it feels really healthy, as you mentioned, really like rarefied air when you get out there after a lightning storm. So that's really interesting and good to know. Let's talk a little about, shift it over to high science, high energy. What is it about this technology? And we're going to kind of explain maybe the process of how these botanicals are selected and kind of, how we have the different recipes and maybe the process of how this all works.
Sure. Was that a question?
Yes, yes, it was a question.
What was your question?
So the question is, can you kind of explain the process of accumulated SA? And I've got a couple of notes on accumulated SA that I was able to garner this afternoon that I thought were really, really interesting on how the technology works. And you can see as I'm talking, the different talking points here. And maybe if you'd like to just kind of go over this rare technology, this really new technology. Maybe it's not so new, but talk about why it's different. Then maybe if you could elaborate on a couple of the points that are on the screen, that would be wonderful.
Okay, let's take the first one. Text utilizes the essential properties of plant cell particles that provide instructions for new cell and energy production. So every plant has its own unique set of phytochemical compounds and unique configurations of molecules and atoms. So when it undergoes this technology and it simulates a lightning storm, right, in that environment. And so these plants are actually infused with more negatively charged particles, and they are able to hold a charge, and that's what keeps them so viable. So not only are the plant materials viable, but the DNA and all of the other plant cell components, the energy producing factories, the fatty acid producing factories, protein producing factories, all that is going on at the microcell level. So when you have a plant that's been exposed to all this, then your body has all that much more to work with, because those charged particles are able to carry out so many more biological processes. So I guess that's kind of answers that question. I'm not sure what you asked there, but I hope
that's good information. So the plant particles, the energy production. Also, we talk about being active and 100% absorbable, and how each drop supports extra intracellular activities. So we're talking about 100% absorbable. That's kind of hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Even when you digest your food, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be utilizing every single component of the food you take in. There's a lot of factors at play there, but this is all broken down for you, so you don't have to digest it. It doesn't have to go through the digestive process. So it's completely absorbable through the cell membranes in your mouth. It enters the bloodstream and it gets circulated everywhere in the body where it's needed. Your body knows where repairs and maintenance needs to be done. So it's just an automatic, autonomic thing that your body does. And so when these nutrient factors arrive at your cell membranes, and your cell membranes are very particular as far as what type of molecules are allowed inside the universe of your cells. So when these nutrient factors arrive at the cell membranes, your body recognizes that information. It's like a lock and key mechanism. It's like a puzzle piece that fits together. And so you've got amino acids and fatty acids and other plant biochemicals that are allowed inside the cell membrane and inside the cell where things happen, where your body maintains itself and protects itself.
That's fascinating. Anything where you can absorb all the nutrients is going to be really important. We like to say with APO Go, 15 drops for 15 different types of experiences. Obviously, every drop has a different recipe. And I do know that by combining some different botanicals together with certain botanicals, you have this synergistic effect. Just from your studies and your overall view of what APO's done, how would you classify the work that they've done so far in combining these botanicals to be effective?
They've definitely done their scientific homework. And I know that when you put certain plants together, it creates a synergy of different combinations of plant chemicals that your body appreciates. So it's important to understand that these plants work together. And even though some of the formulations have the same plant as others, they're not going to work exactly the same because of that synergistic effect when they combine with other molecules that go to work and do different things. So different molecules do different things. They have affinity for various areas of the body. And that's where the scientific literature comes in, the years and years of accumulated research that scientists have done on these different botanicals so that you understand what each one does for the body.
That's fascinating. One of the things that Sergey, the owner of APO, I asked him once to explain, like, what does the process look like? You've got these special machine, and from what I understand, it kind of creates like a lightning storm within a chamber to negatively charge these caramels. We call them caramels, and they're infused with these different botanicals. How innovative is this, Mary Esther? Have you heard about this technology specifically before APO Go?
When I was researching the book, I did come across something that was similar, but it didn't quite fit. So this idea of this kind of technology, other companies have tried to duplicate. There's something about this particular technology that was 30 years in the making from different scientists from around the world. They got together. It was initially, from what I understand, meant for improving the performance of athletes. But obviously, it does so much more. When it enters that cell membrane, all these nutrient factors are recognized by the DNA, then your body generally has all the information it needs to make any corrections. So it's a maintenance function, and it's a function of being highly nourished. And so that's really important. You've got to be able to do the right thing.
There it is. One of the things that you mentioned in an interview a while ago that I heard was you talked about smart technology, how this technology is actually really smart. Could you elaborate just a little bit about that? I think you may have done it already, but just a little bit more.
Yeah, well, smart technology means giving your body the information that it needs. It's a DNA readout. If you were to lay out your DNA into what they call the human genome, you can see all of your genes on one flat sheet of paper. It's like looking at a schematic of a building, right? So that's what happens here. You give your body all of the right information. Your DNA will actually splice into the information that these nutrient factors that are only available through this technology. And so it will splice in the correct sequences of genes that might have gotten out of sequence or damaged in your own DNA. So when you get injured or when you give your body some the wrong foods, the junk food, the heat altered, the chemically altered foods and beverages, all that comes into play because all that does is just damage your cells. It's not nourishing you. It's not energy. So energy production is important, and it needs those nutrient factors that the drops offer. And luckily, if you're lucky enough to digest very healthy foods, nutrient-rich foods, organic foods, and get it down to that minute level to be able to enter the cell membrane to be able to, your DNA can read the information and utilize it. So once it hits that cell membrane and it's allowed inside, for sure that you're getting the right information to your genetic code so that it can go to work and do the work, the maintenance work or the healing work.
That's amazing. I want to read this next portion. I thought it was really great the way it was written. So it says here, after activating and processing the plant's resources, the caramel is then melted with the plant extract and other components like citric acid, colorings, and flavorings using a standard process at a temperature of less than 80 degrees. And it goes on to say, our product contains only natural colorants, meaning those that are extracted from brightly colored fruit and vegetables such as blood grapes or paprika. This is why we can say our products are absolutely natural. I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely. There's nothing synthetic about the drops, even the colorings, even the citric acid is something your body produces naturally. It's part of the energy production ATP cycle inside the cell. So when your body produces ATP, it's like a unit of energy. So that's actually needed. The citric acid in your body is needed for producing the energy. So when you're taking it in as a supplement, of course, your body's going to grab it up and start producing, complete the molecule of producing the energy molecule.
That's fantastic. I'm going to kind of go back to this slide. And so just so everybody can see this, these are an example of botanicals that are picked. This particular for multi-spectrum MLS. And there's a picture of the caramel on the left. They're infused in it with our technology. And just the different recipes that we have are absolutely amazing. What I'm going to do now is we're going to push forward. We're going to talk a little bit about the different types of drops that we have now. I apologize in advance. There's a lot going on these particular screens. But the idea is to just introduce new people who are tuning in tonight to the different types of drops. Now, we're not going to go through all of them tonight. We're just going to kind of highlight 3 of them. But Esther, if you don't mind, would you just mind maybe rummaging through each of these drops for maybe like 10 or 15 seconds? I know it's going to be really hard, or 20 seconds, and just pick out a couple that stand out to you and maybe why they're amazing.
Sure, absolutely. I can go through all of them pretty quickly.
Okay.
So the GRW contains a combination of plant nutrient factors that will actually improve your immune system functioning. So if you are sick or if you have any kind of health issue, and it's pretty broad. I'm not going to go specifically into it. Of course, we're not supposed to talk about healing or curing or anything like that. But if you're well nourished and your body's receiving the right nutrients, your body knows how to fix things. Okay. And so the GRW contains those kinds of nutrient factors to boost your immune system. And that's very important. Now the GTS, it is filled with the botanical information from those DNA of those plants that will provide your body's means to create more energy naturally. So it's not just about proteins and fats and carbohydrates for energy production, but when you have those phytonutrient factors, it's at the microcell level that your body will disassemble certain molecules and pick and choose from an array of those molecules that come in from those nutrient factors, from all those plant compounds, and utilize that to produce more energy. And the citric acid was one small example. There's a lot of organic acids that the body produces and you can get from plants. But the other phytonutrient compounds, there's like 25,000 phytonutrient compounds in nature that have been discovered so far and that our bodies can utilize to maintain itself properly and have optimal health, and fix things. So that's what the GTS is for. It's to give you more strength and stamina, that kind of thing.
Wonderful. And I gotta admit, that pineapple flavor, if you haven't had it before, wow. I mean, I reach for that thing probably twice a day. I just love that flavor. NRM, I've seen some testimonials about blood sugar levels. Could you elaborate briefly?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of plants in the plant kingdom will have certain compounds that actually help attenuate your blood sugar. So when when your pancreas is producing more insulin to try to get excess sugar out of your bloodstream, say you have too many carbohydrates and you don't have enough protein to attenuate that blood sugar, or enough minerals in your diet to attenuate that blood sugar, then the plant compounds will actually help your body take up that the blood sugar out of your bloodstream and distribute it properly, to utilize it properly, rather than having it just pool in your bloodstream and create a lot of problems. That's how people get sick. They a lot of like obesity and the metabolic syndrome, and that's a whole chain reaction of all these different health issues all balled into one. So this will help you maintain your blood sugar.
Amazing. PWR, I think this is PWR for men, the first one.
Yes. So both PWR formulations are very, very similar, and there's only 1 or 2 plants in there that make the difference. but really your body knows what to do with these plant compounds. These compounds are like precursors to all of the hormones your body needs to make. And because they're so general, then whether you're male or female, it knows what to do with these plant compounds. And so it will generate the hormones that your body needs for your gender. And so that's what I like about these two.
And above, you can see a description of some of the things that they help with. We're going to skip RLX and SLD for now because we're going to cover those in detail. What about STP?
Okay, now STP contains a lot of compounds from the plants that will calm the inflammatory response down. So what happens when your body does not know how to stop a raging inflammation like arthritis or other inflammatory issues, then these will go in and calm down and actually it'll nourish your immune cells so that if any immune cells have gotten confused in their DNA makeup, then this will be corrected. So immune cells have to be intelligent enough, or I should say structured correctly enough at the molecular level so that they can function and recognize what's going on in the body. Sometimes with an autoimmune inflammatory problem, then your immune system has gone awry and it does not recognize things properly. So there are a lot of other conditions that can go bad when someone does not have a smart immune system. And that's all about the nourishment, at the micro level.
I see. So here are 5 of our premier collections, starting with ALT.
So ALT, a lot of those plant chemicals, and this is what's so fun about diving into the scientific literature, you see what all these botanicals and all their different unique compounds do, and especially when you combine several of them together to open up the air passages, to allow more blood flow, to oxygenate the tissues. And this is what these plant compounds do, and this is why when you take the ALT, you're literally taking these things in and just opening up the airways. And also, it helps the immune system to recognize not to close up those airways or constrict those blood vessels, things like that.
That's incredible. And one of the testimonies I heard really early on with ALT is people going out and hiking, people with allergies in the air, just saying, I took a couple and I feel a lot better. So looking at that product and what you described makes a lot of sense. HPR, I've read that HPR has got an ingredient in it that helps remove toxins from the kidneys or the bloodstream that can't be taken out by the body. They need to be taken out with certain. Could you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. A lot of our synthetic ingredients in our body care products, and cosmetics, and household cleaners, things like that, or even things you're exposed to outside in the air, things in our drinking water out of the tap, they contain chemicals that the body thinks are like fatty acids. So it really doesn't know all that much different sometimes because these synthetics are very advanced. So these kinds of synthetics can accumulate in the tissues, in the fatty tissues, under the skin, in the liver, along the spinal cord, covering the nerve cells, and in the brain. Some of these things can cross the blood-brain barrier, which is very specific. But if it lands in those, then you've got a whole chain reaction of nervous system problems where it cuts off the communication networks from cell to cell neurotransmission. So that means like muscle contractions or recognizing something that needs to be addressed in the body, but it can't communicate properly. So the HPR is a way for these botanicals have been known to bind molecularly to these synthetic chemicals so that your body can carry them out. And there's different eliminative channels. You've got the lungs and the kidneys, and you've got the skin. Sometimes people have skin issues. It could be one way of the body trying to detox. There's a lot of reasons for skin conditions, but that's one of them. And the bowels, of course, and the lungs. The lungs are also a way to eliminate these toxins. But these plant chemicals will actually bind to these synthetic chemicals, so you can eliminate them safely.
Okay, what a great explanation on HPR. HRT, heart health.
Yes, it contains some botanicals that are known to protect the heart function and to protect the blood vessels that feed the heart with the oxygenated tissues, and to maintain the structural integrity of the blood vessels in the heart. So yeah, these are all tailored to the biochemical compounds that will actually address various issues in the circulatory system and the heart.
And then what about MLS? It says multi-spectrum. When I see that, I think like it's good for a lot of different things.
Yes. In fact, all the botanicals and all the formulations are what they call pan-systemic. So the body can utilize every botanical for one reason or another, not just for specific things that it was designed for. Yes, a lot of the plants do address these different systems, but the MLS, I like to think of it as something that that addresses the whole system even more. So everything they threw in the MLS will address various body systems. It's just a way of calming the system down, helping the body eliminate and recognize inflammatory responses, eliminate toxins, things like that. So yeah, getting rid of toxins has to be done slowly and sensibly over time. If you try to do a very harsh detox, you're going to feel very sick if you're harboring a lot of these toxic chemicals in your body. So the MLS is a very good way to just gradually cleanse the body and produce the energy. I mean, it just across the board, it's a good pan-systemic supplement.
That's great. So before we get into 3 specific drops, which we're going to do in just a second, one of the questions asked a while back was, what if I'm taking more than one? Will it maybe ruin the chances of the other one working? And I've noticed that a lot of people with their testimonials are saying, look, I took one MLS, I combined it with PWR women. And I found that this combination of having these 2 drops at the same time or right after each other have given us a synergistic effect. What would you say about that?
Well, your body is very smart. It's a design that at the DNA level, where our instructions are that run the whole entire system, you can never have too many of these because it will utilize it. And so there are multiple trillions of cells in our bodies and even more multiple trillions of biological processes that occur every single second of every single day of our lives. So your body is constantly in need of these nutrients for one reason or another, until we clean up this planet, things like that. And that's another reason you don't want to go overboard either, but you want to give your body a chance, every chance it gets. So yeah, 2 drops at a time is definitely fine.
I love one of the things you just said. It kind of reminds me of how versatile these products are. You can carry them in your back pocket. Sometimes I'll rip off 3 of each and I'll stick it in my front pocket. So the 2 or 3 that I want to be using throughout the day, they can go with you anywhere. And I really like that convenience. Now, here are our last 2 drops. They're called the Premier Plus Collection. Our viewers will notice they're a little bit more expensive than the other ones. Why is that? And maybe a little bit about both.
Yeah, these are like your premium. Talk about nutrient factors. They have more ingredients than the others, and they're more synergistic than even the others because they address a lot of issues. In order to have beautiful skin and have a lot of energy and a happy disposition and be able to be mentally, adept and be able to think clearly and all of that, the whole picture, the whole package makes one a beautiful person. So maintaining all of that energy for exercise, energy for pursuing things that you love in your life. So B2Y can be a little bit misleading in the name because it's not just about beautiful skin. It's about making the whole person healthier, happier, calmer, and more clear-headed person. And so that's what I like about the B2Y. And I think that the price is you can buy a very expensive set of skincare lotions or anything to make yourself more attractive, but that's only skin deep. That's only a couple of little millimeters deep. But when you go inside the body and you beautify everything from the inside out, then it's going to radiate outwards, and you'll be able to be more radiant and just be more luminous in your health.
Well, I didn't know that about BTY. As a typical guy, I think I've kind of been avoiding it. It does taste like strawberry matte, so I love the flavor. But now that you've explained it, beauty on the inside and out, overall health, and boy, why not dig into that? Thanks so much. BRN, we talk a lot about nootropics. What is a nootropic, and what does this product do?
Nootropic. Wow, I haven't heard that before. I'd have to look that up. But knowing the BRN and all of the ingredients that are in it, so everything having to do with nourishing your nervous system and removing the gunk. Your nerve cells are coated with the fatty acid coating, and that's what protects them and keeps them healthy and keeps those nerve transmission, those communication channels open. So communicating a nerve impulse from whether it's a thought or reaction reflex or even digesting something or anything the body needs to do, there's all of this communication going on. And so between the regulating and monitoring hormonal system and the nervous system, they work together to get things done in your body. So anything that keeps you alive, and there's, like I said, multiple trillions of processes going on, proteins that are messengering various parts of the body. Your body's constantly communicating with other systems. It's all one unit. So it's all intercommunicating all the time. So it has to have those nerve impulse transmissions working properly in order for you to concentrate more, right? To have a longer attention span and to be able to be cognizant. And if it's little things too, like being sensitive socially, there's all these different things that are occurring at the body that make a person more interactive and more just able to deal with life and make the right life choices. So all that is going on. And so you've got to nourish your nervous system and make sure that those nerve cell coatings are fatty acids. If you're taking in like fried foods or any trans fats, hydrogenated fats like the margarines, those are plasticized fats, that actually destroys the nerve cell coating. And once that fatty acid coating is destroyed, then you've got a damaged nerve cell. And so you've got a whole chain reaction of health problems associated with nerve degeneration. So this is what the BRN is good for.
Wow, so much more than just brain fog, because I read a lot of testimonials about people not being able to focus, or maybe they just in a space where they need to wake their brain up and they take the product. And by the way, it tastes like coffee. It's pretty amazing flavor. But what you're describing is so much more than I thought these products were doing. I've heard a lot about nerve endings and keeping it clear, the pathways clear. Really amazing stuff. We're going to push on and get into 3 specific drops. Now, these drops can be found in the sample pack. So if you're joining us tonight and you haven't tried the products, whoever invited you to the call tonight, ask them for a sample pack. The sample pack will contain one of each of these next 3 drops. Let's start with RLX. What do you love about this product, and how would you recommend people use it?
Wow. Okay. So if you're stressed out, or if you have been under a lot of stress or physically exhausted, you've got mental fatigue and physical fatigue going on, and there's a lot of anxiety in your life, it's time to take a break.
So I'm going to interrupt you. You just described like 85% of the population or 90% of the population. So I just wanted to throw that in. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the botanicals here, they're not, you don't get drugged up. It's not something that will make you fall asleep or anything. But if you're already physically tired and you take an RLX, then of course you're going to fall asleep, right? But people who are under a lot of stress, it disturbs their sleep cycles. And so they have to try to set a time of rising with the sun and going to sleep, a few hours after sunset. So first of all, you've got to get your body clock correct. But if you're in a pinch and let's say you're traveling and you've got jet lag or whatever, and you need to get some sleep, then an RLX will certainly just calm the nervous system down so that these stress chemicals don't keep it misfiring and going haywire a lot. And of course, staying away from caffeine when you're stressed out is going to be difficult. Actually, incidentally, the BRN is not about caffeine. It's about the nourishment that the coffee bean extract does. And so you've got the taste of the coffee bean, but nothing more. So there's other plant chemicals in there that will keep you awake. So there's a big difference between wired and being alert. So if you're well nourished, you will be alert. But if you actually need to relax, then taking something that will calm the nervous system down a little bit without sedating you, actually, you can still go out and operate machinery, kind of thing, unless you're totally exhausted and you shouldn't be driving anyway, or operating a machine. So that's what the relax is. That's what I like about it. It doesn't drug you, it doesn't put you to sleep, but it does relax you.
One of the things I want to point out is the pine nut. I just want to let people know that the pine nut is actually not classified as a nut, if I understand it correctly. And there is no pine nut in any of the American formulation. That's what I was told. So I just kind of wanted to point that out.
Absolutely. Yes. It's no longer in there. And I was told that not too long ago. So I was glad to know that. So yeah, if you take that out, a lot of people are allergic to pine nuts, and so they're afraid to take it, when actually you're taking in the DNA of the pine nut, and that's quite different, because a lot of the other factors that are in the pine nuts will trigger things that, if your immune system isn't up to speed, then it will definitely trigger a whole chain reaction of allergic, what they call memory. If your body responds a certain way, it'll remember how to react, and that could be a negative thing. So that's why they took the pine nut out. But other than that, it has all of the ingredients like the ashwagandha root that'll strengthen the immune system and allow you to take more stress. The plant sterols and the ashwagandha root will help you deal with stress better. It'll give you more reserves, physical reserves, to be able to do that. The banana is what they call the happy ingredient, because it has so many chemical compounds in it that actually improve your moods. So there are certain essential oils that will affect the different glands in the body that will help regulate mood. So that's called the happy fruit. And the chamomile has always been known to calm down the nervous system. It's so safe. You can give them to babies with colic, things like that. And so it's delicious too. The Siberian ginseng will give you more of those plant compounds that will give you strength to be able to endure, stress. So you'll be able to relax even though you're under stress. And that takes practice too, is to remember, okay, everything's going to be fine. Just breathe. And you'll be able to reason with yourself so much better, rather than allowing your emotions to just run away with you, and you won't be able to, some people cannot bring themselves to that point. So that's what these plants are so great for. Lettuce, the same thing, has nutrient factors that help you relax. Passion flower, the same thing. The passion flower actually, in other countries, people use this as a beverage, like instead of alcohol. It makes them more sociable, so they can relax and have fun, that kind of thing. So yeah, this is a pretty great formula.
I love all the different elements it pulled in to give it its strength and what it does. And I want to add one thing: the banana bliss flavor, for me personally, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize, it tastes great. It's becoming one of my favorite flavors. And I never thought I would say that when I first tasted it, but it really does grow on you. Our guest tonight is Mary Esther Gilbert. Just a great scientist, lots of different degrees. We talked about that earlier. We're so happy and lucky to have you on with us this evening. Let's go to our next slide, ice. I want to just kind of say a little bit about this really quickly. One of, I think, the most powerful drops that we have, at least in my life, is this product. A lot of people like to eat a lot of different foods. We're surrounded by different restaurants all the time. And sometimes, depending on what's going on in our life, we can get stressed. It shows up in our gut, and it's stressful sometimes, especially with everything going on. This has been such a lifesaver for me personally. Why do you like it, and why are you excited about this product?
Okay, so this focuses on what happens when you digest food, when you take stuff into your stomach. Like you said, what happens in there, and why do you get stomach upsets and things like that? So let's take the aloe vera leaf, for instance. That gel is antimicrobial, and it will soothe the cell membranes inside your stomach lining. So if you have like ulcers and things like that, it will actually go in and destroy the bacterium that causes ulcers. Or if you're under a lot of stress, it'll actually soothe the stomach lining and neutralize free radicals, things like that. So it's a very calming and soothing way to calm your digestive system down. And if you're taking it in the drops or as a raw leaf, it's the same kind of thing, the same information that's going in, and it's going in there to neutralize the free radicals. So that's a good thing to have in that formulation. And then you've got the carrot. The carrot is also very, very soothing. It's a classic when you're sick, you want to put in your chicken soup, you put carrots and celery and a little bit of garlic. Those things are very soothing to the stomach and very healing to the stomach. So the carrot has many compounds that will do that. The chamomile, again, that's a very, very calming, soothing to the digestive tract. Licorice root also. This particular plant, actually, even though it says Glycyrrhiza glabra, this particular plant doesn't really have glycyrrhizin in it. So, but it's in the same class as other licorice type of plants. So this particular one will not cause high blood pressure. So when you take it in, it goes to work to destroy any kind of microorganisms that your stomach and your colon would have. So that is also another way of destroying invading microorganisms that would make you sick. Okay. And then the meadowsweet leaf, again, another wonderful plant that has different compounds in it to help you digest and to just calm things down so that your body can disassemble these molecules, whether you took in something that you shouldn't have or eaten too much. This will aid in the digestive process and break things down properly for you. Same with the sea buckthorn. And what I like about the additive is the essential oil in it. So the mint essential oil is a classic as far as being able to break foods down and digest them. So when you have a stomach upset, it's usually because you can't digest the food properly and break things down properly. So this all helps break down all of these big molecules that you're taking in the form of food. It's important to chew your food properly. A lot of people don't stop to think, they have the first step of digestion is to chew your food, and the saliva has digestive enzymes in it. So it starts the process. Then it hits your stomach, and more, stomach acids will churn that around and break things down. It'll deposit it into the lower intestine and further break things down even in the lower intestine. So the ICE is good for destroying the anaerobic bacteria that's in the colon so that you can have a good colon environment. So you've got to have the good bacteria, which is oxygen-loving bacteria. And so you've got to just create a whole environment in that whole system. And that's what ICE helps with.
Oh, fantastic. We're going to move on to our last drop, SLD. And tell us what you like about this. I know as people age, especially, some of the joints get a little stiff. This talks about, I've always kind of promoted as something to help get the joints healthy and moving again.
Yeah, absolutely. So the problem with stiff joints is that there's a microcirculatory problem. And usually a person takes in, when someone tells me that they have an inflammatory problem like stiff joints or pain, then it tells me that they're taking in the wrong types of foods that cause the acid in the body to rise. So you've got an acidic condition, in other words, a lower numbered pH. If you were to take a litmus test and put the litmus paper to your tongue, and you put it next to the key of different colors, and it'll tell you what your pH number is in your body. So you have to maintain right in the middle, anywhere from a 6.5 to a 7 on that scale to make sure that your body's not too acidic or not too alkaline. So either way, either direction. So eating plenty of raw fruits and vegetables and taking these supplements will make sure that your pH level stays normal. And usually that's what makes the inflammation go down, and a lot of the accumulations that accumulate in the joints, all these different uric acid crystals and even calcium deposits in the kidneys, things like that. Those will all be dissolved if you have the right pH in your body. So the SLD assists in that process. It'll help detoxify and cleanse and smooth things over literally in the joints. So that's what all these foods do. The balsam pear fruit definitely does that. The ginger root, oh my gosh, there's so much scientific research on the ginger root. Also the turmeric in this formulation. So if you bought the book and you see all the different studies that have been done on ginger and turmeric, actually a lot of these other ones as well, but mostly those, they really stand out. So those are excellent to be in this formulation to help reduce that inflammation, break up the particles that are causing the stiffness, and increase the circulatory blood flow and oxygenation that goes through all of the joints and all of the areas that are causing inflammation. This could be like in the urinary tract and even in the stomach, anywhere in the body where it has a tendency to have inflammation. So the grapple plant root also, it has a lot of plant compounds in it that will kind of help your body repair the tissues and help that along. The green tea leaf extract, it has a lot of antioxidant compounds in it. Again, there's the licorice root and the strawberry. Also, a lot of people who are allergic to strawberries, they can take this drop because you're not getting the whole strawberry in there. You're getting the DNA of the strawberry, the information that your body needs to be able to reduce inflammation. Strawberries will go in and clean house. And so people with inflammatory responses, they can't eat strawberries because of the high acidity of the strawberry. But in the drops, you're getting the DNA of the strawberry. And that's the information that your DNA needs to reduce the inflammation and allow oxygen flow and that kind of thing. Okay, so that's pretty much it on that one.
That's incredible. So as you explain the different drops and the different ingredients, the botanicals, I was thinking like, who would have the time to go and buy all this stuff? Like if you go to the grocery store, then you have to extract the right components, right? You just talked about the strawberry. So here we have these drops, new technology, negatively charged with negative ions. Apparently the drops and caramels are melted. The botanicals are mixed in with them. They choose certain botanicals to combine with each other to get the synergistic effect. It's smart technology. It goes like just talking about this gets me really, really excited. The fact of the matter is, and I think if you talk about inflammation, the biggest foods are going to be like pastas, bread, sugars. These are things that people eat all the time. Now, I tried to go off of them. I have not been successful, but I try. So these types of supplements, they taste great. They're right at your fingertips. Why not give it a try? Why not try it and see what it'll do for you?
Yeah, that's a good thing that you brought up carbohydrates. There are good carbs and bad carbs. So when you balance your diet properly, you have to have the vitamins and minerals, the raw food enzymes, the phytonutrient compounds, which are abundant in the drops. So that contributes quite a bit to that. You put all that together, then you'll not crave the simple processed sugars. So when you take in things like beans and root vegetables, those are long, large molecule chains of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Your body, it's like a slow time release of energy. And plus all the phytonutrient compounds in those foods will also contribute toward energizing you and giving you the sustained energy that you need. And without calling in a lot of the simple organisms that feed off of the simple sugars that cause a lot of problems as well. So if you're eating processed carbohydrates, that's what's causing the inflammatory effect, because those are so incomplete. Those foods are very incomplete. They're too concentrated in the sugars. It overtaxes the pancreas, and so that can lead to diabetes. So you have to balance your diet and always stay away from anything that is processed or fried or heated oils, things like that. So if it's not freshly harvested, and if it's not freshly slaughtered, if you're not a vegetarian, and you have a supplement like this that has viable nutrient factors that your body can use immediately to do the work, then you put it all together and you will have optimal health. Definitely. Exercise, sunshine, managing your stress, all that comes into play. But the drops are kind of fundamental to providing your body with the boost that it needs to set itself straight.
So you mentioned something that's really interesting. I've heard people talk about having a couple of drops, popping a few drops, that's what we like to say, and then they feel satisfied. For whatever reason, it kind of kills the appetite, and there's some satiety with these drops. Is it because, like you said, they're so full of nutrients that they're able to satisfy your body to some degree in between meals?
Absolutely. You won't have any cravings if you do all of the above. You pop those drops in regularly, habitually every day. You'll be giving your body a good start about what your body needs to maintain itself properly and to avoid the degenerative deficiency disease process. So like Linus Pauling, 2-time Nobel Peace Prize winner, always said, 99% of all diseases out there are because of nutrient deficiencies. And over the last 40 years, when I taught my clients how to eat properly and take in the right supplements, I wish I'd had the drops back then, but I found, supplements that would contribute to their health. Then when you have all those factors present, then your body knows what to do. You don't have to think about, I've got to heal this and I've got to heal that and I've got to correct this and that, or I've got to stick to a certain diet. Diets out there, by the way, are so incomplete, so inadequate. They'll only make you hungrier and more depleted, and they'll bring you right back to your bad eating habits if you have the bad eating habits. So it's important to make sure you're highly nourished, and the drops are a great fundamental way to do that.
Yeah, well said. I mean, we call them yo-yo diets. I've been on them, and you get off the bus and you're worse off than when you started because you're not getting the nutrients. One thing I did want to point out is our certification. So for those of you who are new looking at this, is it real science? Yes. Is there any kind of certification? Behind the production, yes. One thing that we like to talk about is the fact that we are an FDA registered product, which means that all the products that go out are inspected by the FDA for label integrity, for packaging, make sure that it's done in the highest standards. We're halal and kosher certified. We're what we call beyond organic, which is really important to a lot of people. So just so you know, you're getting a real quality product that's designed especially for health and nutrition the way that Mary Esther is describing to us tonight. I do want to point this out. This is really important. When APOGO launched and decided to take their own manufacturing facility, they really put their flag in the sand and said, we are coming out and pushing a very new product line, a new delivery system. We're so serious about it. We're going to purchase our own manufacturing facility, and we're going to be able to run lines night and day. So we don't have a product problem with supply. We're committed to this technology. It's been really well received, and we really look forward to the expansion globally of these drops. We're sending them out to people all over the world. They're having the similar results, loving the drops, loving the way they taste, and sharing them with their friends. And we like to tell people, welcome to the new age of nutrition. The choice is ours. We can do what we've done, the pills and capsules. We've been doing those for a long time, and sure, they work to a degree, and we can also try these new products. And we always like to tell people, your health matters. Why not give them a try? Why not invest in your health? Try these products and see what they do for you. I want to thank you tonight, Mary Esther, for doing such a wonderful job. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share that we're going to probably do one of these again, hopefully really soon, and get you on and maybe profile 3 different products or 4 different products so people can learn more in detail about how they work. Are there any other closing remarks you want to give before we say goodnight to everyone?
Well, I saw a lot of questions in the chat, and sometime or other we need to get those answered because they're good questions and they fill in the gaps of knowledge so that people can feel even more confident about taking the drops. But just know that these drops are fundamental to your health. They contain the right information that your DNA understands and allows inside the very picky universe of your inner trillions of cells in your body. You've got to give your body the right information at that level. So it's like a schematic readout. The DNA with all the gene codes of the plants should be contributing to your health versus via the DNA readouts that in your genetic code. So that is so much. That's pretty much it. When you get right down to it, everything you put in your body, it has to be recognized by your body. It has to be what scientists call of the self. And if your body decides that it's not of the self and it's foreign to the body, it'll try to eliminate it. It'll cause a chain reaction of inflammatory responses that you don't want. So a lot of these problems are because they're just the wrong molecules that are going into the body. Sometime if there are.
Let's do it right now. Would you mind answering maybe just a couple of questions that we have?
Oh, I would love
here?
to.
Okay,
in fact, I think it's important that we do. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so John Choker is asking, he says, how and when to take each drop throughout the day would be very valuable information.
Can you repeat that, please?
He said, how and when to take each drop throughout the day. So when do I take these drops? Like in the morning, in the evening, before a meal, after a meal?
Okay. Yeah, in this case, it doesn't matter. If you're in between meals and you feel like your energy is running down, you're starting to get hunger pains, you can't concentrate, get a couple of these drops in you. It'll give you a running start as far as being able to produce enough energy to get you through to the next meal. Do not skip your meals and make sure your meals are totally healthful. These are amazing drops and they go a long way toward your health, but your body also needs the right food. So make sure that you're having a very healthy, half of your diet should be raw fruits and vegetables so that you're getting more vitamins and minerals, especially organic foods. If you're taking in non-organic foods, then you're going to get in a lot of the pesticides and a lot of the environmental toxins as well. And they don't take care of the soil. You talked about environments. So whenever your food is grown in, and this is what the plant materials that are supplied to the company, they undergo nutrient soil, amendments to make sure that the soils are all organic and nutrient rich. So the plant materials themselves are nutrient rich to start out with. Okay, so then when they go into the production of making the drops, then when you start out with a good plant material, you're going to end up with a good end product as well. I hope that answered the question.
Oh boy, I think more so. It totally answered that. Next question: what are they sweetened with? What are these drops sweetened with?
Okay, that's the fun part. Everything is organic, first of all, and out of all of the 7 grams of sugars that are in the drops, not all of them are the white sugar, and it's organic white sugar. It's like 1.7 grams of sugar per drop. So your body can easily handle 1.7 grams of sugar, especially if you're eating a healthy diet. So that's not the issue, really. I mean, your body, and plus the other biochemical compounds in these plants help counter and help your body regulate that little bit of sugar and utilize it right away. Your body can use 1.7 grams of this simple sugar right away. Your brain uses it up in like a few seconds, and your muscles and everything else, your metabolism will use up that simple sugar right away. So that's not the issue. And the other components of the carbohydrates are just the plant fluids, the juices of the plants. So they are very well balanced, and your body, again, it's something your body utilizes immediately for energy, So that's not really the issue. The sugar unless you're popping the whole box several times a day, then that amount of sugar will add to the other sugars that you're eating. So, be careful with sugar in general, but the drops themselves.
Like a one Recess peanut butter bar or Recess Pieces, those are loaded with sugar and they're synthetic sugar. So I think we quantify it as you did. You can really see how low the dose of sugar is. Here's the next question. Are there any risk of people taking pharmaceutical medications along with these?
Well, when I did research for many years, I still do research, and I used to research the plant nutrient interactions. And I did not come across in anything that said any nutrients will interfere with drugs. In isolated studies where they studied one or very few synthetic nutrients, and they gave the test subjects a lot of these isolated vitamins or minerals, then that did make a difference in how the drug would work. Sometimes it would eliminate the drug's effectiveness. Sometimes it would intensify the drug's effectiveness. But those kinds of studies are thrown out when you have a group of panel of experts that are going through all of the scientific studies on any particular subject, and they throw out poorly designed studies. And so those were poorly designed studies. So as far as I could tell, and I've never come across that since, that there are any drug nutrient interactions. And also there are a lot of misconceptions out there, even by the medical community. Not that I want to challenge them, but if I were sitting down on a panel, go one-on-one, then I would welcome a debate on that kind of thing, because I do have all the information, the scientific data to back me up. So, but that's not the issue. The issue is to not be afraid of taking the drops because you're taking a medication. So these are nutrients that the body recognizes. Medications work entirely differently. They turn on and off switches all the time in your cell membranes and in your DNA. So they work entirely differently. And there's a lot of side effects that goes with them. But these are nutrients that your body recognizes. They're precisely the right molecular structures that your body needs. So I would not be worrying about that.
Thank you. Last question for the night. How do you know which product combinations is best for each individual person?
Again, that's why I wrote the book. I want people to get this information and be able to make an intelligent nutritional health choice. So that's why I wrote it. And so that's why we're having these meetings, so that people can get more information and make a choice like that. So getting to know generally what they do, and to be able to know what each plant does, it really helps you make that choice.
Thank you. And there's so many combinations to try together. For those of you who want to join us on our Go Life Facebook page, you do need to be invited in. You can request to be added. Once you do that, we will add you. There are a couple of rules. We don't really like to talk about prescribing for kids. We don't bring up any of the cure words. So just be aware that this particular site, we do regulate it, but it's full of testimonials for you to go and take a look at. See about symptoms that you or maybe a family member might have, and maybe, give the drops a try. With that being said, I want to again thank you, Mary Esther Gilbert, for your time. Thank you for being a little book nerdy and doing all the studying, because that's a lot of discipline to sit down for hours and months to write the book that you wrote. We're really excited about some of the changes that you were requested to make, that you're making, and be able to announce when the book will be ready again, and maybe some other marketing materials, which I'm sure a lot of us would love to get our hands on. So thank you so much for being our guest tonight. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. This has been recorded, so we're going to post it very soon. I'll make that link available on the Go Life page and Go USA page. So on behalf of Mary Esther and myself, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great evening, and go pop a drop. Enjoy it. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Thank you so much.
you. Amazing.
Thank you.
Kari and Mary Esther.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Corey. That was
That was
awesome.
amazing.
Thank
Great
you, Mary.
night.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
All right.
Can't wait for
My
the
pleasure.
recording.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Good night.